Folks, we get to have a great guest on with us. You may know her from her time on some soap operas that we've talked about on this show, General Hospital and All My Children, but also CBS's Criminal Minds. It was a great role, a great episode as well, and she's an actress who's got a different topic that we want to talk about, something we really haven't talked about much at all on this kind of show, and this is Elizabeth Clark with us now, and we're going to talk about how do you do an intro for this, Elizabeth? Freezing one eggs. I mean, it was one of these things that was just very interesting, a reproductive topic that we really haven't talked about much on this show. How did you end up sort of kind of down that river?
About a year ago, I read a brief article about a woman who gave birth to her first child at the age of 49. And I kind of started thinking, oh my God, like, how does that happen? So I did some research, and I found out that given the woman's advanced age, that probably wasn't her egg, that most likely would have been a donor egg. And then I started doing some more research, and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I could be my own egg donor? I was 29 at the time, and I think anytime you face a birthday that ends in 0, you think about a lot of things. And I was thinking, that I knew that I really wasn't ready to have children, and I didn't think I would be ready in the next 2 or 3 years. And so because I started doing all that research, I understood that my fertility would begin to drop pretty quickly in the coming years. And I kind of I've always wanted to be a mother, and I wanted to give myself the best chance to be able to do that when my life was ready for it.
Well, it's definitely a topic that raised a lot of awareness. The article that hit BuzzFeed was called 12 Reasons I Froze My Eggs Before My 30th Birthday. And I think sometimes we talk about a woman's biological clock. We're already thinking about the natural processes, but it's very important to note as I came away from this, I did not know that, 32 is kind of the age that they're kind of asking you to kind of stop with. And that's a much younger age than I think what most people realize.
Well, 32 is the cutoff to be a donor. So that's not, a lot of women freeze their eggs for themselves in their late 30s. And so the 32 thing is about if you're going to be giving your egg to someone else. But what I think is important about the age 32 is that if that's the cutoff to be a donor, that kind of gives you a good indication of where the prime eggs are. So
right.
They're before 32, and you can get a much bigger harvest. The younger you are, the more eggs you're likely to produce. So I had read about a lot of women who were freezing their eggs at 37, 38, and they weren't necessarily producing a lot to be able to freeze. And so I admired their tenacity because they were, a lot of them went through more than one harvesting cycle, but I didn't really want to do that. So by taking the step at a younger age, I was able to produce a much bigger harvest in one shot.
We're talking with Elizabeth Clark. We're kind of discussing a lot of reproductive issues and really an amazing fertility topic that really hasn't really gotten kind of the legs it kind of deserves and really kind of raise awareness about the biological clock, the fertility issues and limitations that could be there for women that are obviously now with an age or so many more are in professional careers. They're delaying getting married. They're delaying having children, these kinds of things. This is a topic that I think really bears a lot of discussion. And Elizabeth, when you kind of first went down this road, did you get a lot of advice or input from folks around you? And what was your family and friends sort of saying to all that?
I did. I was very open about the fact that I was thinking about doing it, and I spoke with a lot of people that I trust and friends, and because it's a really big decision, and it's a very it's one that requires a lot of thought and consideration, and I think it's always important to go with your gut and what's right for you. But I took great comfort in being able to discuss it with the people that I'm close to.
Your professional career as an actress has really kind of, my big experience meeting you, and it was the creepy script that was your role on Criminal Minds. So how are you balancing your acting career, and is this sort of become an activism that is sort of kind of, becoming more of a passion than maybe you originally had thought?
Organizational skills. Yeah, no, I think it definitely has become something that I'm very interested in, and I feel so blessed to be able to I went to USC's campus a couple of weeks ago and spoke to young people there about fertility, and I'm going to be speaking at more colleges on the East Coast next month, and so I'm really enjoying that, and I'm hoping to do more of it because it's fascinating to me that I've been thinking about this. When I made the decision to freeze my eggs, I started thinking about it last January, and now it's 14 months later, and I'm still interested in the topic, and I've been talking about it a lot, and I don't get tired of talking about it. So, I'm very excited that this has become a new way that I'm spending my time, and I'm really interested in what I can do to be part of a movement that gets this information to younger women.
Well, it's great to see folks that can really enjoy and have opportunities to open up about their passions, things that they're interested in, and obviously something that has such a medical health benefit tied to it, and such great revolutionary forward thinking is very powerful indeed. And, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about where you are in your acting career. You've got other projects lined up. We talked about Criminal Minds briefly. You did some soap work, those kinds of things. What's ahead for Elizabeth Clark?
A lot of auditions. It's still pilot season, so that's what I'm doing right now. I've written something a bit longer, so I'm working on that as well.
What was your experience like, going from, the soap background to like the episodic experience? Is there a certain take home that you came away with that you were surprised by?
Yeah, I think what people don't realize about soap operas is they work so quickly.
Yeah.
They produce an episode a day. It's the pace that the actors on soap and the crew on soap operas, they just keep such a high pace at all times, and I think that that's really a great way to learn. I have such admiration for everyone that works on soap operas.
Do you have some word of advice that someone gave you, or an experience of advice that happened along the way that you still kind of cling to for your acting career?
Never take no for an answer, and just kind of, and also that your tenacity is everything. You're gonna. I don't care who you are, or how successful you are. It's never going to be easy, and that you just keep going, and you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to develop a thick skin.
Just a quick question about your grandmother, Mary Higgins Clark,
Mm-hmm.
the author, the famous author. And at what point did you realize, I have a famous granny?
Oh, God.
I was kind of bruising through some of the stuff that gave me all sorts of stuff here to look at, and I was like, you got some really cool opportunities going on, visiting Oprah, and these different things that you were able to experience at such a young age. At what point did you kind of, as a child, to go, wait a minute, Granny's kind of not only cool, but she would be famous?
Yeah, I think I can remember being young and being, at a restaurant with her and people coming up to her and things like that. And she's just so gracious and lovely. And so that I think I don't remember the moment when I realized, oh, she's famous. I think it's just something that I just knew was part of her life, that people come up to her and talk to her about her work. And so I think, I can't answer the question. I don't know when I realized that she was, quote, famous, but I just knew that, attention from people that she doesn't necessarily know is just part of her life. Amazing. That's what I can remember realizing, but not, and I guess that kind of is what fame is.
Well, it's great to see that her graciousness has rubbed off on you to allow you to find a passion that is beyond the scope of your career, to somebody that's able to help others and reach out in such an amazing way. And Elizabeth Clark, folks, talking about this. We'll try to link to some of her stuff here, track down that BuzzFeed article, which really gives her an incredible voice and detail on this, and what really chose her to look inside and become more of an advocate of a topic that most people are not speaking on. And it's been such a great blessing to get a chance to talk to her. Thank you again, Elizabeth, for your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.